Welcome to the Fire and Earth podcast with your hosts, Jason Mefford and Kathy Gruber. Fire and Earth, giving you the keys to unlock your limitless potential.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Fire and Earth podcast. I am your co-host, Kathy Gruber.
And I'm Jason Mefford. And today we're going to carry forward on some of the stuff that we've done before, because we like doing this. It's actually kind of fun. We just ask a question and then we just talk about it. And because this is real, raw, and unscripted, you just never know where we go. But just listen, because you're going to find something today that you needed to hear. The fact that you're on this podcast tells us that already. So today, the card that we're going to talk about is, what was your favorite cartoon when you were younger? So Kathy, what was it?
Oh, this is so easy. And see, now this is a controversial one, right? We've got Pepe Le Pew.
Pepe Le Pew.
Pepe Le Pew, oui. I collect skunks. If I wasn't weird enough already, I have probably about 350 skunks. And of course, the king of the skunks is Pepe Le Pew. So I have skunks that are porcelain, glass, wood, stuffed, fluffy pine cones. I mean, like, I've got boxes of skunks. And unfortunately, because our house is so small, I can't put them out. But the last place I lived, I actually finally had them all displayed. Mm-hmm. And it was the first time probably in my life I was able to put all of them out. And I got through box 3 and texted a friend and said, I think I have a problem. Because I had so many skunks. I've never seen them all in one place. And so now they're all back in boxes, but I have little smatterings of skunks around. But yeah, Pepe Le Pew was my favorite. And I used to, Warner Brother cartoons, you would turn it on and you'd never know what you were going to see.
Right.
Sometimes it was Bugs Bunny or Roadrunner or, so any day that I would watch and I would see the teaser for the Pepe Le Pew stuff, I was so excited. And I sat there just waiting every time I turned those cartoons on to just catch a glimpse of Pepe Le Pew.
Okay, so now I'm curious though, right? Because again, if you've got 350 skunks, there has to be a story or a meaning behind why you have so many, right? So this is another thing. We've known each other for years. I didn't know that about you. So tell me more.
So apparently, and I don't remember this, apparently when I was a baby, I dug through an old box of my mom's stuff, which that sounds like me. And I pulled out a little stuffed skunk and I would not put this thing down. So my mom started calling me Skunky. Remember that outfit from the other episode where I was she still at that point was calling me Skunky. So nothing more making you more popular with the other kids than when your mom pulls up to pick you up and screams Skunky out the window of the car. Again, I'm understanding why I didn't have a lot of friends. So she started calling me Skunky. And I don't remember this stuffed toy. There was no photographic evidence of me with said toy. Of course, there was also no cell phone. So, unless you had a good reason to take a picture of something. And so from that point, my dad, with this sort of collector mindset, anytime we'd go to, we loved flea markets. So anytime we'd go to a flea market or an antique store, if we saw a skunk, I'd go, oh, and I'd buy it or he'd buy it for me. And then he got on this roll, as you do when people start collecting things, of everything that I see that's a skunk, I should get Kathy. So it got to the point where he would send me the same skunk like 10 times. And I'm like, Dad, I have this one. Like, can I send you a picture of everything I have? It was the little rubber flower that came in the Happy Meal from McDonald's when Bambi was re-released. So of course, every flea market had 5 million of these skunks. So I must have I seriously had a dozen of those things. And then one day he sent me a badger. And I said, Dad, that's not a skunk. He goes, it is. It has a stripe. I said, no, that's a badger, Dad. One day he sent me a squirrel accidentally. I'm like, that's brown, Dad. That's not a skunk. So I got rid of those. But yeah, so I have boxes and boxes of skunks. And still now to this day, every time I go to an antique store or a flea market, I look to see if they have any skunks that I don't have. And I haven't bought one in a very long time because, like I said, I don't have any place to put them. Right. But I still, I would love to be able to put all of them out and actually have my skunks out again. And Pepe Le Pew is this lives on our fridge. It's a magnet.
So. Well, then that makes total sense, right? I mean, it goes back to a childhood nickname that your mom gave you, that your parents used.
Maybe I smelled bad as a kid. I don't know what really happened.
I'm sure they made you bathe. I don't think you smelled as a child.
Oh, she made me bathe. Oh, that was definitely
Yeah,
not a problem
yeah.
with my mother, but yeah, who knows?
No, but
Yeah.
well, and it's interesting too, because again, it's you know, especially for people that collect things, right? That are serious collectors, or, you know, I like to I mean, I wouldn't say I'm a serious collector in anything,
Mm.
but I like when when I buy something and I know kind of where it came from, or there was a meaning behind it, right? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I've got this little, it's one of these little toad things
Yeah.
from, the
Oh, sure.
Chinese toads, right?
Yeah.
Lucky toad. And I mean, I got that in San Francisco Chinatown one
Yes.
time, right? So when I see things like that around me, it brings up the memories. Because and I would rather, like you said, when you're at a flea market with your dad and you buy something like that, now that little skunk represents and brings back all of the emotion around that experience, right?
Yep.
Because experiences are, at least my opinion, I would much rather spend money on experiences than things.
Yep.
But having something from that experience, reminds you of that and kind of brings that back to you all the time.
Yep.
Which is
absolutely.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So is there any particular skunk that is like the one that is like your favorite?
I have one that is, I don't remember the material. It was very big, like in the 90s. And it was this, it almost felt like wood, but it wasn't. It was like soapstone or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's curled up and it's looking up and it has these big blue eyes. It's just adorable. And then there's one that's really big. It's a porcelain skunk and he's doing this. And I had a friend who every time he came over to my house, he'd go, I stink. And he'd make this. So there's one that is doing that. And then I actually have a skunk in my car. One of those little puffkin things. It's just a round skunk that my dad gave me, and it still sits on the dashboard of my car. So there's a couple little ones that are my favorites. And I have one, actually, a girlfriend. Okay, we're gonna play What's on My Desk for a second. Whoops, as I knock it down. She made this for me from the 3D printer at her office.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So that sits on my desk.
Cool.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's kind of fun. So I have a smattering of them around. I mean, it's like I'm looking around the house right now and I can see a couple skunks kind of popping out here and there, but not nearly as many as I used to have. So what was your favorite cartoon, Jason?
Well, the funny thing is, it's, I mean, I was like every other kid, right? In the 70s and 80s. I mean, what did you do Saturday morning? You got up and watched cartoons, right?
Yeah.
As a parent, then I understood why parents loved it too. It's like you finally get a break from the kids for a little while. But I mean, that's the thing about some of these questions, right? Is you never quite know where it goes. I mean, for you, when we ask the question, you're like, ooh, I know right away, right? I mean, for me, it's I remember watching a lot of the different cartoons, but I don't necessarily know that there was one that happened to be a favorite, right? And some of them even like but there's certain things that you kind of pick up from it, right? Like I think it was younger, my nephews, I want to say, when He-Man came out, right? He-Man and the Masters of the Universe.
Yeah, that was kind of past us though, right?
It was past us, but my nephews that were living with us for a while would actually watch it. And there's certain things, I mean, like from that, I always thought it was kind of a corny, dorky thing, but I loved the one saying where, from it that knowing is half the battle, right?
Oh.
That I think that was actually a saying that always kind of stuck with me, from that particular cartoon. But yeah, I mean, the Warner Brothers, Looney Tunes.
I can see you being a Johnny Quest fan.
That's all, folks, right? I mean, again, it's like, well, now today in the politically correct thing, I mean, Pepe Le Pew, he's a rapist, right? Oh no, it was innocent,
Yeah.
The stuttering of Porky Pig, and
Yeah.
different things like that now that are not considered acceptable. But I don't know. I always, from a character too, I always liked Bugs Bunny, just because of how he was always so calm and cool and playing the tricks on everybody. But it was, like Yosemite Sam.
Yeah.
Or you get somebody like Wile E. Coyote against the Roadrunner.
Yeah.
And it's like all the different things that they would go through that were just again hilarious in my book. But,
Exactly. Did you like Johnny Quest? I could totally see you being a Johnny Quest guy.
Johnny, I don't know if I remember that one. I don't know if I saw that. Johnny Quest.
He was this bratty, adventurous kid. And he had this like full blonde hair, and he would go out and have these adventures and solve mysteries. And I loved Johnny Quest. Johnny Quest was cool.
I'm gonna have to YouTube that. Let me write that.
I could see you liking Johnny Quest.
Johnny Quest.
I also like the witch, the Brunhilde witch, where she'd get and the hairpins would fly, and she had the cat that ran. Even back then, I was witchy. That's just one of those things. Witches and that big red thing. And I don't know what it was. It looked like a giant carpet, and it was just this big red monster.
Oh yeah, it was the monster thing.
I don't know that it had a name, but I loved that thing.
No, because all you saw were the eye. Even you didn't see the eyes most of the time. It was just like it was just like the
eyes.
red carpet.
It had eyes.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was just it was like Cousin It, but it was this giant red mop-looking thing. Maybe it was wearing socks. I don't know.
Down memory. Yeah, it was a sock. It was a red sock. Regular.
Let's bring them all in. Yeah.
Cool. All right.
So yeah, you need to go watch Johnny Quest. I actually think you'd like it.
Well, and I think it's, we talk a lot too about it. I mean, sometimes people are not, we get adult and we do adulting things, and we get so serious, and sometimes it's good to just go back and maybe watch some of those old things again. It's like a lot of times, when Allie and me are sitting down trying to watch a movie, we're like, well, let's do a funny movie, right? But it's like a lot of the comedies now are, I don't know, I like raunchy, kind of politically incorrect humor, right? And it's not that I'm making fun of anybody else or anything, but it's just certain things are funny to me. Mm-hmm. And so watching a lot of the current comedies, it's like it's not the same thing as like going back and watching more old school stuff like Airplane or
oh my god,
Naked Gun.
Yes.
Or, even we've been watching a lot of different Adam Sandler movies, older stuff, or kind of a lot of the things that came out of the Saturday Night Live kind of genre there, that they just don't make comedy the same way. So if we just really want to get rolling on the floor, we were just watching this one, I can't remember the name of it, but it was a newer Adam Sandler one, but one of the funniest parts was when they had like the guy from Beavis and Butthead, and they're doing like Beavis and Butthead.
I never got Beavis and Butthead. I just didn't. That must have been a boy thing. I just
well, I think it probably was more of a boy thing, but a few of the things that were going on there, and my stomach was just hurting from laughing.
Isn't that great?
Right? But it's, hey, all this stuff's on YouTube. It's on, a lot of the different streaming platforms. I mean, we can go back and watch a lot of these old things. There's some place to be. So, if you just need a getaway, you just need a little laugh, you need to kind of remember the joy of what it was like to be a kid.
Yeah.
Right. Then, maybe take some of those things from your childhood, go back and watch Pepe Le Pew. Oui. Oh, I am Pepe Le Pew. Or whatever floats your boat, right?
Yeah.
That'll make you happy, bring some joy to your life, make you laugh a little bit too.
Yeah. I love it. Cool. All right, everybody, go out and enjoy just a little glimmer of your childhood and let yourself just laugh like we did when we were kids. I love it. Cool. I am Kathy Groover. I can be reached at kathygruver.com.
And I'm Jason Mefford. I can be reached at jasonmefford.com. Go out, have a great week, and we'll see you on a future episode of the Fire and Earth Podcast. See ya.
See ya.